Kingston had a sound. It came from the yards, from the dance halls, from people who had nothing but felt everything. The 1960s built the foundation of reggae music, and some of the ballads that did it never got the credit they deserved. Not then, not now. But here's what most people don't know. These songs didn't just touch hearts, they changed music forever. This is the countdown. Number 10, Take It Easy, Hopeton Lewis Warm. No. Slow, like someone putting a hand on your shoulder and saying everything is going to be all right. This is not a song you dance fast to. You sway to this one. Eyes half closed, heart open.
Take it easy, no need to worry.
It is 1966. Jamaica is 4 years past independence. The fast, horn-heavy sound of ska has ruled the streets for years. Then Hopeton Lewis walks into the studio, and the musicians cannot keep up with his natural singing pace at ska tempo.
No slipping, no sliding, no.
So they slow everything down. The bass drops heavy, the rhythm breathes, and accidentally they create the blueprint for Rocksteady, the direct parent of reggae.
Bumping, no boring, I want fair ride into town.
The slowing of the tempo was not planned. It happened because Hopeton could not sing the song comfortably at full ska speed. The musicians adjusted to him, and in doing so helped invent a new sound. One of the great accidents in Jamaican music history. Most people know Rocksteady through the Paragons and the Techniques. Hopeton Lewis, the man who helped spark the whole thing, barely gets mentioned. His name did not travel as far as his sound did. That is a debt the music still owes him. Number 9 belongs to a man who was barely a teenager and already sounded like a legend. Number 9, Dancing Mood, Delroy Wilson.
I'm in a dancing mood.
A young man, 16 years old, standing in front of a mic at Studio One. There is a lightness to this song, a sweetness, like a Sunday morning before the rest of the world wakes up.
I'm in a dancing.
And the voice carrying it sounds far too wise for a boy that young. Delroy Wilson was a child prodigy, recording at Studio One before most boys his age had even kissed a girl.
I'm in a dance.
Dancing Mood sits right on the line between ska and rocksteady. The rhythm more relaxed, the emotion front and center. It was a favorite at dances and sound system sessions all across Kingston. Delroy had been recording since around age 13. By the time he cut this song, he was already a studio veteran. He went on to record hundreds of songs across multiple decades, but the early Studio One work is where the magic lives.
You got to move your feet. You got to...
His massive 1970s output overshadowed everything that came before it, and a lot of his early material was never widely reissued. But for anyone who grew up in Jamaica or in Caribbean communities in London and New York, this song lives in the memory like a first love. Number 8 features one of the greatest group harmonies ever laid down on tape in Kingston.
All right, C-Trends fam, let's keep it real. We're pouring our hearts into bringing you the best celebrity news and music deep dives. What? Check it. A massive 98% of you aren't subscribed yet. Subscribing is how you can truly support us, helping us grow and create even better content. If you're vibing with what we do, take a sec to hit that subscribe button. It's free and makes a huge difference. Plus, ring that notification bell so you never miss out. Let's flip that 98% and build this C Trends family together. Your support is everything.
Number 8, Queen Majesty. The techniques. Three voices locked so tight they sound like one. Smooth, soulful, floating. Whatever was troubling you 5 minutes ago, gone. This is a lover's anthem in the truest sense. The techniques recorded for Duke Reed's Treasure Isle label, the powerhouse home of Rocksteady. Duke Reed demanded quality. He pushed his artists hard. The result was pure gold. Queen Majesty draws from minstrel and queen by the impressions, but the techniques made it completely Jamaican. Lower bass, sweeter harmonies, that unmistakable rock-steady pulse underneath.
I'm not a king, just a minute.
Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions were enormous in Jamaica during this period. Their influence on rock-steady harmony groups is impossible to overstate. And many of the greatest ballads of this era were built on American soul bones, then transformed into something uniquely Jamaican. The Rocksteady era lasted under 2 years at its peak. When it ended, many of its finest songs got left behind. Queen Majesty is proof that Jamaican musicians were creating world-class music long before the world was ready to pay attention.
Your Majesty.
Number 7 is a song about love and devotion. And one of the most iconic voices in Jamaican history is right at the center of it. Number 7, Wear You to the Ball, the Paragons.
No, you don't suit those other guys.
Proud, tender, quiet, confidence. A young man knocking on a door in his best clothes, hoping. This song has that feeling all the way through. You feel it right in the middle of your chest.
You suit me all right.
The Paragons recorded for Treasure Isle, and their catalog is among the finest of any Jamaican group of that era. The lead voice here is John Holt, who would later become one of the biggest solo stars in Jamaican music history.
No, you don't suit those other guys. You suit me fine.
In 1967, he is young, hungry, and putting everything into these harmonies. The song was a dance floor favorite and a sound system staple, speaking directly to the romance of Jamaican life. Many historians argue John Holt's finest work came not from his celebrated solo years, but right here with the Paragons at Treasure Isle in this era. The real fans know.
I'm gonna make you the talk of the town. No.
In Wear You to the Ball stayed mostly within Jamaica and the diaspora. Outside of dedicated collectors and old-school roots fans, younger audiences have almost no knowledge of it.
No one will push you around.
But talk to any Jamaican man or woman over 50 about this song, and watch their face change completely.
I'm gonna make you the talk of the town.
Number 6, one of the most covered love songs in reggae history. And over 30 years after it was first recorded, a modern pop duo brought it right back to the charts. Number 6, I'm Still in Love with You, Alton Ellis.
I'm still in love with you.
When Alton Ellis sings, it does not sound like performance, it sounds like confession. Like he is standing right in front of you, telling you the truth and daring you not to believe him. This song is not loud or dramatic. It is just honest, and sometimes the most honest thing in the room is the most powerful. Alton Ellis is one of the architects of Rocksteady. He earned the title Godfather of Rocksteady, and songs like this are exactly why.
I'm still in love.
Recorded in 1967 at the heart of the era, simple words, big emotion, no frills, the kind of song Studio One was built for. Then in 2003, 36 years later, Sean Paul and Sasha released their version. Massive international hit. A whole new generation fell in love with a melody Alton Ellis had already blessed the world with decades before.
I'm still in love.
When Sean Paul's version dropped, many younger fans had no idea the song went back to 1967. Completely new to them. That tells you everything about the strength of this melody. It sat for over 3 decades and came back sounding just as fresh.
I'm still in love. I'm still in love with.
The original gets lost in the shadow of the modern cover. Most people today think of Sean Paul when they hear this song. The roots version, the one that started everything, deserves far better than that. We are halfway through, and number 5 carries a real storm. I mentioned a controversy earlier. That story is right now. Number 5, My Conversation, the Uniques featuring Slim Smith.
All I need from you.
If you know this song, you already feel something. Because My Conversation does not just play, it reaches inside you and finds whatever you have been carrying quietly.
It's a good conversation.
The bass line beneath it is one of the most recognizable in Jamaican music. Deep, rolling, patient. Then Slim Smith's voice comes in and everything else disappears.
Conversation, 'cause it gives.
The Uniques formed in Kingston in the mid-1960s. Roy Shirley, Jimmy Riley, Lloyd Chalmers, and the voice that defined them most.
Me sweet.
Slim Smith. Produced by Bunny Lee, the song's bass line became one of the most reused rhythms in Jamaican music history. At the dance, when the selector dropped this rhythm and the crowd reacted every single time.
Inspiration.
I told you earlier that one song on this list carried a real storm. This is it. Slim Smith was one of the most gifted vocalists Jamaica ever produced, but his story did not end the way it should have.
And to tell you I never felt this way.
In the late 1960s into the 1970s, people close to the music have spoken carefully in interviews about what happened to him, about his mental health, about label disputes, about money that was owed and never paid.
Before I know there is somewhere.
The system of that era was not built to protect artists. Labels held the masters. Labels held the publishing. Artists recorded, artists performed, and sometimes the money never came back.
Today.
Some people say that the pressure of that era, the lack of financial protection, the lack of care for artists who were struggling personally, contributed to what happened to Slim Smith. There are different versions of the story, but what is not disputed is the tragedy. Slim Smith passed away in 1973. He was 26 years old. My Conversation is not just a beautiful song, it is a reminder. Behind every great voice is a human being. Those human beings deserve to be protected. Slim Smith was not, and that is a truth this music and this industry still has not fully reckoned with.
Now I must admit that
The rhythm lives on. DJs still use it today, but the name Slim Smith for a man with his talent is nowhere near as widely known as it should be. Remember his name.
where I can see more clearly.
Number 4 takes us to a song about faith, Scripture, and Exile that ended up in one of the most unlikely places a Jamaican ballad had ever been. Number 4, Rivers of Babylon. Youth of Melodians. Some songs feel ancient, not old, ancient. Like they were here before you and will be here long after. Rivers of Babylon is that kind of song. The moment those harmonies open up, something spiritual happens. It is prayer and protest and longing all in one. The Melodians were Brent Dow, Tony Brevet, and Trevor McNaughton, 3 Kingston voices who could sing with a depth very few have matched. The song draws directly from Psalm 137, scripture about people in exile crying out for home. In Jamaica in 1969, with Rastafari consciousness growing, this was not just beautiful, it was political, it was a statement. The song was later featured in The Harder They Come in 1972, the film that introduced reggae to the world. Then in 1978, Boney M took it to number 1 across Europe. When Boney M hit number 1 with this song, millions of people thought it was brand new. The original, 9 years older, was almost entirely unknown to those audiences. One song, 2 lives, decades apart. The Boney M version has almost swallowed the original whole. Most people today think pop disco when they hear this title. Not a sacred Jamaican roots recording from 1969. The Melodians gave the world one of the most meaningful songs ever made. The world credited someone else. That is the story of Jamaican music in the 1960s, right there. Top 3. Number 3 crossed an ocean and opened a door nobody in Jamaica had managed to open before. Number 3, Israelites, Desmond Decker and the Aces, 1968. Number 2, Wonderful World, Beautiful People, Jimmy Cliff, 1969. This song is hope that refuses to die. It does not just say the world is wonderful. It says the world could be wonderful. If only we tried. There is an ache in that. A beautiful, painful ache. Jimmy Cliff had been recording since his early teens. By 1969, he was already one of Jamaica's most gifted young artists. Wonderful World, Beautiful People reached number 6 in the UK and cracked the American top 25.
Take a look at the world.
Making Cliff one of the very few Jamaican artists to achieve that kind of international chart success at the time. Produced by Leslie Kong, the same man behind Israelites. Kong had a gift for finding the space where Jamaican music could touch international ears without losing its soul. Bob Dylan heard Jimmy Cliff's music during this period and was deeply moved by it. He called one of Cliff's songs one of the greatest protest songs he had ever heard. For the king of American folk to say that about a young reggae artist from Kingston, that is not nothing. That is history. After the 1972 film The Harder They Come made Cliff a global icon, everything before it got buried under that wave. People forget that by 1969, Jimmy Cliff was already changing minds on multiple continents. This song deserves to be celebrated as a milestone, not just a track on a compilation.
But with music, it's a way of communicating.
And now we are here, number 1, a song written by a man alone in London, Far From Home, barely holding on. What came out of that pain is the greatest reggae ballad ever recorded. Number 1, Many Rivers to Cross, Jimmy Cliff.
My way over.
You know what it feels like to be alone in a city that does not care about you? Far from home, trying hard and getting very little back, looking out a window and feeling like the distance between where you are and where you need to be is just impossible.
Wandering up in love.
Jimmy Cliff knew that feeling. He was living it when he wrote this song, and that pain, real, personal, raw, is in every single note. This sounds like a gospel hymn, like a prayer.
As I traveled along.
Like a man at the very end of his rope, but still standing, still believing. He is broken in this song, but he has not given up.
Keeps me alive. I've been
Jimmy Cliff wrote Many Rivers to Cross in London, isolated, broke, and discouraged, recorded in 1969. Later featured on the soundtrack of The Harder They Come in 1972, the film that brought reggae to the world.
washed up for years. And I'm
Music critics and historians have called it one of the most powerful reggae recordings ever made. It transcends genre, it transcends era. It speaks to something universal about struggle and persistence.
only survived because of my
The song has been covered by artists across every genre imaginable, but ask any of them, and they will say the same thing. Something in the original cannot be replicated. You can cover the melody, but you cannot cover what Jimmy Cliff was actually feeling when he wrote those words.
It was so hard to find.
Outside of reggae circles and serious music history fans, this song does not get the recognition its quality demands.
Wandering up in love.
If it had been recorded by an American soul artist in 1969, it would be in every hall of fame, but it came from a young black man from Kingston trying to make it in London. The world took longer to listen. The world is still catching up.